Hey yo, this is your boy DD from the closet. It's me, I'm a DM in a closet. I'm having a great time in my closet. I was so excited. I got this in the mail today. It blocked my voice with the book. This is such a cool book. I'm gonna tell you some thoughts. I guess there's sort of spoilers. I'm not gonna go into quest detail, just kind of overarching plot. And I mean, just right off the bat, it's like the texture of the back. I'm like, ooh, that's a weird texture. It's got a weird texture. But yes, Icewind Dale, the rime of the Frost Maiden, rime like the rime of the ancient mariner. Um, it's a rhyme. They got rhymes. They got rhymes. They be busting rhymes. So here we have on our cover, we have a poor unfortunate frozen person, which is a major theme of the of the book, Frozen People. And then here is Ariel, in one of her forms, but not her final form. All right, so I took some notes as I was reading, and I'm just gonna kind of go over what I thought of everything. I'm gonna put on my glasses. Yes, I wear glasses. My contacts were out. Now I have my contacts in, but I didn't put them in this morning. I got home late, so I'm not gonna put my contacts in the evening. I'm drinking another iteration of my black and tan. This is an orange and black, or black and orange, whatever you want to say. Yeah, still need to go to the drawing board a bit. This one features pumpkin and sage. Isn't that fun? All right. So the book, the premise is there is this town at the spine of the world, which is like this kind of to the far north, and there's this mountain range. It's called the spine of the world, as far as I understand. And there are these 10 towns around, and they were kind of like, think of your Nordic towns, but then the divine being Auril, who embodies winter's fury, casts a spell that keeps the sun from going past midday, basically putting the whole area in perpetual winter. And the adventurers are there to save the day. The everlasting rhyme. They have to break their rhyme. Like rhymes. Hopefully my glasses aren't too reflective like I'm in some Japanese anime. Just like that. They always middle finger, push the glasses up to the bridge. All right, so we got our cast of characters. We got Auril, of course. Then we have our Dwager friends. Zardarok Sunblight. We have a very ethnic first name, and then the last name is two English words shoved together. Isn't that great? He's on a quest to find Shardolin, which is not a mess you make in your pants. It is a kind of ore that's from shards, and it can do fun stuff. Yeah. But he's making this giant dragon construct. There's a bunch of we got the Arcane Brotherhood. They are labeled in the book as Wild West gunslingers. So that's kind of fun to think about. You got like a bunch of wizards, and they're just like whoopoo, whoopoo. Hey, you cast a spell at me. I cast a spell at you. Pew, pew, pew. And yeah, isn't that fun? And they're searching for this lost city, which you can, as an adventure party, search for, of the Netheril. I guess it's like nether regions. They're searching for their butts. Who were the other ones? Some things that were fun. I guess this is part of just basically the 10 days. I really liked it when we talked about calendars and stuff. So they do 360 days, 12 months, but they only do 3 weeks a month, each 10 days long. I thought that was kind of cool. So I just want to throw that in there. A lot of cool mechanic elements labeled. So we got avalanches and we have blizzards, not to mention just the kind of cold weatherness, but that's kind of covered already. But this one has actual mechanics for like how many, where the avalanche starts, how wide it is, what the saves are, how far it goes in a given. Basically, you go roll initiative for an avalanche, and then depending on how you do, you either are able to not be buried in the snow and all this stuff. It's kind of cool. Blizzard mechanics, all about line of sight, about flying if you're flying, or about navigating. A lot of survival checks in this. Let me say in this again. In this. Then we have just kind of the modes of transport are kind of fun. So we have dog sled, which is, a real world kind of solution. Then we have these things called axe beaks. I guess I should show parts of the book, if you don't mind, so I can show you what a frickin' axe beak looks like. Axe beak. Axe. Ask him a question. Axe beak. So it's basically like the thing from Empire Strikes Back that they cut the guts out of and stuff. Kind of a bipedal thing there. There's also a big deal. So there's a big deal, of course, winter's the main theme, the cold and everything. It says it like gets the equivalent of like negative 40 plus degrees Fahrenheit and Celsius, because as you know, once you get to that point, they become very close in numerical value. We have winter clothes. They play up the idea that you can disguise easily with the winter clothes. And I think that is why one of the pictures we saw so much of was the one with the 3 kobolds stacked on top of each other. Yes, isn't that classic? Classic. All kobolds are sneaky SOBs. So we have winter clothes, and then let's talk a little about the 10 towns themselves. So a theme here is that the 10 towns are not very magically there. There's very little magic. They specifically mention how you can't find magic shops. They'll give you a bunch of stuff. Like at most you'll find 1 or 2 like common magic items. Thought it was worthy of note. You'll find that all 10 towns are given snowflake ratings. No, not because they, on a scale of how sensitive they are, but on a hospitality service. Yeah, what was it? Friendliness, friendliness, services, comfort. So how nice people are to you. What kind of services can you get there? Like, blacksmith, all that crap. And then what kind of service, comfort, inns, ale, all that garbage. They do a lot of drinking in this game too. It's a little too real for all our Nordic friends, all the drinking when it's cold. So we have 10 towns, 10 towns, snowflake rating. We also have some fun things. So the 10 towns are all trying to deal. They're all independent, and they're kind of a confederation, if you will. And they each have their own ways of dealing with this winter and trying to appease Auril. I hope I'm saying that right. There's a pronunciation guide in the front. I guess I could look at it. Pronunciations. Auril. Never mind. Auril. OH dash capital REEL. Auril. So we got Auril, and they're all trying to appease them in their own different way. And some of them like to have human sacrifice, so they just kind of sneak that in. It's like, oh shit. So this is supposed to be kind of like a horror kind of adventure. And I will say bodies pop up quite a lot. Finding bodies everywhere in different states of mutilation or frozenness is a common theme in this book. But it's spooky. It's spooky. So human sacrifice, just throw that out there, just kind of sneaks in there. Oh, I love it. They have rowboat stats. And for fishing for their knucklehead trout, that's a big theme, is the knucklehead trout. Looks like basically a baby beluga whale that's red. And it's literally called a knucklehead. That's the other thing I'm finding is a lot of the names in here, they're like extremely like Zarbargadar. And then they'll be like I said, Sunblight. So it's this weird mix of compound English words and then your more fantasy oriented names. Yes, and the towns themselves, they they give fun maps of each one's and crests. I like the way they do the towns. It really makes it feel like an open world. Um, but they give maps for each town, and the towns range significantly from a walled city, basically like that, to a little hovel or like a little fishing village like that. So there's a big difference in the different areas, which is fine. But to call them all towns is kind of funny because like there's clearly some that are more advanced than others. Like maybe 10 people live in one and like 10,000 in another. I don't know. They don't give you population breakdowns. Be kind of extraneous if they did. Unnecessary. So then we also have a fun group. We have a introduction of infernal politics coming in with our Knights of the Black Sword. The Knights of the Black Sword. They are disciples of Levistus, of the sixth layer, the imprisoned devil, who Asmodeus imprisoned. I don't know if I said this before. I say Asmodeus. Some people say Asmodeus. I say Asmodeus because it's from the Redwall TV series. That's how they pronounced it. Asmodeus. So that's why I say it like that. And he actually makes an appearance in here too. I won't go into details about that because it's kind of a spoiler if I do. But there is this kind of mix of infernal stuff in here. As you go, you'll see there's kind of a mix of everything in here. It seems like it's this remote area, but then like everyone's here doing everything, and it might as well be like the Vegas Strip or Times Square or something like that. Cool. So yeah, those guys, the Knights. Some fun flavor they have. Like one of the towns, it says explicitly is like they have legal pickpocketing. And it's just like one of those weird, like I wonder what they were doing, like sitting around the tables like, how do we make this town different? How about stealing's legal? Brilliant. That's how the discussion went at Wizards of the Coast. Yeah, and it also seems like maybe I'm doing treasure all wrong in my campaigns, but it seems like they have a lot of gold to give out. Like some quests that are like at the beginning, they'll just be like shelling out like $5,000 worth of gems. Not no biggie. Granted, there's a gem mine, but it still seems like there's like I don't really get a sense of how they create this bleak picture, but then they make these areas seem very well off almost, which is this wasn't always their condition, so obviously they may have been doing when they have summer still, they may have been doing better and all that stuff, but it's kind of this weird dichotomy between like bleakness and plenty. It's weird because then they make a big deal about food and stuff, which is obviously one of those things that comes about as as a result of the winter, the everlasting winter. But it's kind of a neat contrast there. Yeah, lots of drinking. They love to drink. They even make a mention of how to keep warm on the ice when or it's weird. They have a lake they fish in, and at the same time, it's both frozen and you can row on it. I don't know how that works, so suspend disbelief. But they specifically say how it's very common for fishermen to get drunk or whatever, like drink a lot of ale, to keep themselves warm. And yeah, that's a thing. And then there's one whole town it's called like Mead Works or Mead. Give me mead. What's the thing called? Mead. Mead your mama. Mead your face. Good Mead. It's just called Good Mead. Like literally, it's called Good Mead. Here's the town of Good Mead. Of course, their thing is a tankard of mead. Good mead. That's like if Baltimore was called Crab Cake. Or Chicago was called Deep Dish. Something like that. Something like that. So we got our mead. So a lot of drinking. And yeah, like I was saying, a lot of dead bodies discovered just kind of all over the place. You come across a headless corpse frozen in the snow. Anyway, so oh yeah, there's also some fun stuff. They have a sperm whale boat. It is a wrecked ship on the back of an awakened sperm whale, and you can get on it, and the sperm whale will blow a bubble to encapsulate air around you and the ship. So you're in a bubble wrecked ship on his back, and then you can go underneath the sea and travel places. Yeah, maybe there was some edibles or some smoking happening. That one. It was a neat little picture. Might as well show the picture. Where we got? There we go, bubble whale. There go, bubble whale. The bubble whale. Yeah. Yeah, so I did, you saw the pictures of the maps. I like the maps. I like the way that was, towns, building, caves, boats, ships. They have, all the different grids, and so, they do, everything from a little cabin to, hopefully that was in the shot. I'm just kind of flipping it up real quick. We got a mine here. Look at that. They really do a lot of work for you. It's a nice thick book, and then of course they have the town map. So yeah, they give you a lot of stuff to work with. It's very easy. It's a lot, but it's pretty well situated. One thing I will say, there's a lot of contingencies here. Pitfall, I think, with a lot of campaigns is the kind of over planning, and it's like, if this, go to this page, if this, go to that page. At the one hand, it's helpful, but on the other hand, it's it can be overwhelming. But at the beginning of their books, like I'm sure they do with all their books, they say, take a little of this, take all of it, take none of it, take just the maps if you want, which is nice of them to be so gracious as to let us use their maps. Yeah, so about the horror aspect of this, you find the bodies everywhere, which gets kind of, it I guess it could get monotonous. It just depends how you play it. There's also something I like a lot, is when the players will encounter foes way stronger than them. Like there's this one instance where there's a blind ancient white dragon, and on its back rides the dead wizard master, who's just on its back. They have they like with dead bodies in this, so of course it's a dead wizard on the back. But it appears while they're just exploring the ruins of some wreck on the ice, and like there's this whole thing, and it's literally, you're not, this goes up to level 9. I think the book will take you through level 9. You're nowhere near ready to take on an ancient white dragon, even a white dragon, not an ancient one. Don't even try, buddy. Even one that's got cataracts. I got cataracts. Yeah, but I feel like that's a fun aspect of the monster you can't fight yet, because it's scary big. So that kind of lends itself to the fear. Oh, like I said, this is kind of like a meeting ground for everyone. Let's have some mind flayer ships just kind of crash. Why not? It's like an ET moment. Not just any mind flayers. Gnome mind flayers. And their unfortunate brethren, the Gnome Squids, which I just gotta show this. Yeah, so there's a gnome mind flayer, and then there's the squid. So this is the kind of yeah, and as you can see, the gnome is holding a ray gun, or a laser gun. Yeah, it's literally, they call it a laser gun. He has a laser. Yeah, he shoots lasers. What about that? What do you think of that? Is that too much for you guys? that might be a little too much for me. I think I will not use that at all. Yeah, I don't think there'll be any Mind Flayer gnomes with laser pistols in my game. No siree, Bob. They had some cool things, like they had the upside down spire, which was this spire that collapsed and fell through the ice, and then thusly it's upside down. So the whole thing of it, it's neat because you're crawling through a dungeon from the still the bottom to the top, but you're going down to the top. So it was just kind of a neat little shake up of things. Oh, they have like prison. That was pretty neat. They have like this. It's called Revel's End because it's the end of revelry. No more revelry here. You're in prison. So that's a cool map they have. Lots of things you can do with that. And what's nice about this is because it's kind of this remote, secluded area, you can graft this onto any campaign, really, even if it's a homebrew. Like, I think I'm going to graft it on my homebrew campaign, change some of the players, change some of the names. But I really do like how this is set up. And I have a PC who just loves being scared. She doesn't, but, it's fun. It's all in good fun. Yeah, so that's the prison. Then we have Snowflake Island, where O'Real lives. Snowflake Island's an island of ice shaped like snowflake. You can take Bubble Whale over there. And then you fight O'Real. And there's a lot of stuff there. And what happens is then the coldness gets colder. So it's like all the DCs go up and all this stuff. And you find bones everywhere. Again, just dismemberment, bodies, all crap. So this adventure has like kind of two acts. So there's the O'Real that kind of ends in chapter 6, I believe, and then the last two chapters of this adventure go. You're finding this Netheril city that these arcane brotherhood is looking for and stuff. So that's where the adventure turns. It turns into a quest for that. Another thing, kobolds are completely pissed on all over this adventure. They're just everyone's little lackey, or I guess the kobolds, but there's like vampire kobolds and zombie kobolds, and they're always just kind of being pushed around doing something. Which is funny because in the campaign I run, the kobolds are kind of very sophisticated. They're kind of like the mob. So like this is quite the opposite. So if I was running this, I would have to do something there. I'd have to change it up a bit, or make it known that these are completely different kobolds. Because this will be again a place removed from where I normally do it. Okay, yeah. So we got our kobolds, who are pissed on. Yeah, and then all of a sudden Slod are thrown into this, so we get a little bit of Slodness, that good chaotic demonic crap. And there's a hilarious picture, because if you think of Slod, you think of like these toad-like things, and they're chaotic, and they're just kind of there to F things up, if you will. But then we get to these Slod, and oh, what's in my telescope? Oh, stars. Oh, what's in my telescope? Oh. So we have this Slod who is chaotically appreciating the heavens and studying astronomy very chaotically. He'll probably, maybe he'll smash the telescope after he's... So we have our astronomy Slod. There are weird little things when you get to this lost city, little flavors that are fun, but very bizarre. Like, you can conduct a phantom orchestra I didn't make that up. There's phantom orchestras in here. So that's a little bit, I'm not going into too much detail and giving away everything, but yeah, it's definitely a grab bag of everyone in here. They're all doing something different. And it seems like a very happening place for, the bleak north, where even under normal circumstances, it probably was still pretty bleak. But now in perpetual winter, it's still like everyone needs to be up here doing stuff. So let's talk about the creatures. They have new creatures here. So some of the highlights. So we have the Cold Light Walker, which is essentially, like, I don't know if they're riffing off Game of Thrones here or what. With the Winter Walker, whatever the crap they're called. I walk with the winter. Winter walking's my game. Get these guys. Yeah, there's some weird stuff, like brain in a jar, like that's weird. Oh yeah, the Chigwa. So these little elemental things, they dance around, they have parties. They're a lot of fun. So that's a newbie here. Yeah, the Cold Light Walker. So that is just a guy with blue light coming out of his face. And they're an undead, and yeah, they just kind of walk around. They're very cold. They're so cold. They're cold, mother. And so there's Cold Walker. They cold. We got some Knoll Vampires. Classic Knoll Vampires. Yeah, we got the Goliath Werebear, who is a hippie fisherman. Let's see if I can dig this guy out. It's the hippie fisherman Werebear. Let's see where you at, Werebear. Werebear. Oh, Werebear. Yeah, so he looks kind of like this hippie surfer fisherman guy. So we got our hippie fisher. We also have a bunch of stat blocks for things as mundane as a hare, a fox, a goat, and then of course our knucklehead trout. So you can have fun battling just animals, or going on a hunt. It's like, oh, let's hunt. Roll initiative. Ooh, that was exciting. Probably one of the more unique ones is there's a lot of constructs in this thing. I'm finding out. So I guess these are called the Magen, Magen. So these are some constructs, but they look like blue people. They done look like blue people, if you know what I mean. So they bleed mercury. Let's see. They arcane methods. Their blood is the color and consistency of mercury. They exist purely through magical means. When one is killed, its body disappears in a burst of harmless fire and a cloud of smoke that quickly dissipates. So yes, there is 3 types. We got a Demos, Galvan, and Hypnos. And they do melee, they do evocation, and then they do psionic stuff, it looks like. Ain't that great. So that was kind of one of the more unique ones. Then we have our snow golem, which kind of looks like a Patrick Star as a blob of snow. I mean, you might as well pull it up, guys. You might as well pull it up. So there's Patrick. And then we have our Sperm Whale stat block. Yeah, the mighty Sperm Whale. They missed out. They don't have narwhals. They have pictures of narwhals in here. If you notice with the bubble whale boat, they had narwhals swinging beside, but they don't actually have a narwhal stat block. Let me double check that in case I'm just like totally misleading you, like the devious SOB I am. Nope, we got our mind flares to mountain goat to yep, nope, no narwhals, folks. Sorry about that, folks. And then we have our Tomb Tapper. This one was pretty cool, and this is kind of like, this is probably the most horrific thing in here. Look at that. This guy ain't got no face. He's got a mouth and a stomach, and he's got a giant hammer. And basically, he's a miner that smashes through Earth to find trapped magic and guard it. Basically, also a construct, magical construct. Oh yeah, and then the verbier, the verbeeg. They are not Goliaths, but they are giants that resemble oversized humans. I don't know what makes them. I guess they're just different. They're different. We've got walruses. We got a little yeti. Got a yeti tyke, a little baby yeti. And then we have some fun spells. There are 3 spells that are given. We have the Blade of Disaster, Create Magen, and Frost Fingers. It's a Blade of Disaster. It's a 9th level conjuration spell. It creates basically this black blade that does, let's see, it ignores basically all barriers and whatnot. It does 4d12, but it crits on an 18. If it crits, it does 12d12. Hence why it's 9th level. Then we have our Create Magen, which is 7th level transmutation. Yeah, you can create any of those Magen you see. There's a lot of components, so you have to have a body and, like, you know, fill it with ash and eat on it and all this weird stuff. But that could be fun for if you have higher level party members and you want to do something in this world. Then we have our 1st level evocation, Frost Fingers, which is a 2d8 cold attack, and you can add a d8 every level up you cast it. So it can do a lot of damage. Cast at higher levels. Yeah, so that was my brief take of Icewind Dale, the Rime of the Frost Maiden. That comes with this nice little map for your players in the back, all the 10 towns and everything. It smells good. It smells like fresh off the presses. So this is a fun kind of little horror delve adventure if you're trying, you know, Halloween's coming up. Definitely worth a pickup for that. Gives you some good ideas. And I guess because it throws everything in this scenario, it can fit with a lot of different campaigns you may be working with because there's a little bit of everything. And that might have been their intention. That, you know, I could see that being their intention. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt saying that's what they were doing it for. But yeah, everyone, so thanks so much for listening to this video. Hope you guys will check this book out. I in no way get anything if you go by. I just wanted to review it for y'all. Alright, I'll see y'all later.